Mr. Taylor and me are going to meet sometime, and he better bring his A game, because if he doesn't, I'm going to put him to bed.
16 World Championships, over 200 tournament victories, a career that rewrote the history books. Phil Taylor wasn't just the best darts player to ever step on stage, he was untouchable. But greatness came with a price, because along the way, the power built up a list of enemies that stretched from the oche to the commentary box. Some disrespected him, others betrayed him, and a few simply stood in his way when the pressure exploded. These are the 7 players Phil Taylor despised, and the moments that turned professional rivalry into personal warfare. When Paul Nicholson walked into the 2011 UK Open, he didn't come to participate. He came to make a statement. Sunglasses on, swagger cranked to maximum, the asset was ready to shake things up. And when he beat Phil Taylor in one of the biggest upsets of the year, he didn't just celebrate, he made sure everyone knew about it. Then came the moment that crossed every line. Nicholson waved Taylor off the stage like he was dismissing a defeated opponent. The crowd erupted.
I think he's silly because I think he's going to make... Because he isn't a bad lad. Off stage, he's a nice person. He's trying to get a Premier League place, but using me as a... How can I say, as a springboard, I think he's a bit silly, really. If he starts getting the general public hating him, then his quality of life is going to go down the chute.
But Taylor wasn't entertained. In the post-match interview, Taylor called him silly, saying he was more interested in theatrics than throwing darts.
Paul Nicholson messed about, wind the crowd up, wind the crowd up. Why? No idea. I think the fella's an idiot for doing that.
Nicholson leaned into the villain role hard, claiming Taylor's era was over and the sport needed new blood. The media ate it up. Fans split down the middle. But Paul Nicholson had done what few dared. He got under Phil Taylor's skin and made it personal. From that point forward, Taylor's message was crystal clear. You're not in my league. But what Nicholson did was nothing compared to what came next. Peter Manley wasn't just a rival. He was the guy who turned every match into psychological warfare. Known for his arrogant walk-ons and that smug grin, Manley loved getting under people's skin. The 2002 World Championship final was supposed to be his moment. Instead, Taylor dismantled him 7-0. Total annihilation. And when it was over, something shocking happened. Manley refused to shake his hand, just walked off, claiming he needed the toilet. Everyone knew what it really was. Disrespect. The crowd erupted in boos. That moment flipped a switch. This wasn't about darts anymore. It was war. For years afterward, Manley walked out to boos at every tournament. Fans called him One Dart as mockery. Off stage, Manley invited Taylor to his wedding in Las Vegas. Taylor never showed. No call. No excuse. Just silence. Years later, Taylor admitted Manley made him practice harder, even joked about winning millions after their rivalry. But underneath it all, you could still see it. He couldn't stand him. Even when dominating, Phil Taylor never forgot what Peter Manley did in 2002.
And I thought, you know what, when he wins this, I'm just going to walk straight off.
But if Manley was the antagonist, the next player was something far more dangerous. Raymond van Barneveld was a 4-time world champion when he joined the PDC in 2006. From the moment Barney arrived, Phil Taylor's reign had a legitimate threat, not someone building a name, an actual proven champion. The 2007 World Championship final became legendary. Barney came roaring back from 3 sets down. The match went to sudden death. And when that final dart hit, it wasn't Taylor's. Van Barneveld had shattered the aura of invincibility Taylor built over a decade. That loss burned deep. Then came 2012. After a brutal semi-final Taylor won, Barney went for the handshake. Taylor snapped. Cameras caught them in what looked like it might turn physical. Taylor's face was red with rage. Words were exchanged. Bodies got close. Taylor later called his actions disgraceful, but the damage was done.
And at the end, obviously, I let myself down and, trying to put the record straight. Raymond, he's a big lad and I don't feel too well, and it just hurt me a little bit when he's squeezing my hand and pulling me around the neck. And I reacted wrongly. It was disgraceful, really, so I can only apologise for that, and obviously it'll never...
Over their careers, Taylor held a 61-18 win record, dominant by any measure. But those 18 losses stung more than any others. because Barney made him feel mortal. And for someone who built a legacy on being untouchable, that was unforgivable. The rivalry lasted until Taylor's 2018 retirement, tension always simmering beneath the surface. Kevin Painter had talent, but what made him dangerous was his fire. In the 2004 World Championship final, he pushed Taylor to sudden death in one of the greatest finals ever. That loss haunted Painter and fueled him. By the 2005 quarterfinals, Painter was done being polite. The match was tense from the start. Then came the moment that lit the fuse. Painter kept missing the bullseye finish throughout the match. Taylor, sensing opportunity, deliberately left himself 50 in the final leg and checked out on the bull, right in front of Painter. For Taylor, it was confidence. For Painter, it was humiliation, a deliberate slap designed to show who the alpha was. They exchanged heated words afterward. Painter later described playing Taylor as stepping into a mental battlefield where you were never in control. Taylor admitted he used psychological tactics to mess with opponents. To fans, it was gripping television. To Taylor, Painter let emotions ruin greatness. To Painter, Taylor was the smug champion, who never gave anyone room to breathe. But the next clash didn't happen on the dartboard. It happened in front of a camera. Wayne Mardle found a second life as a pundit after his playing career. That's where the real sparks flew. In 2017, after a World Championship match Taylor won, Mardle was doing post-game interviews. But he didn't lead with praise. He questioned whether emotion was getting the better of Taylor. For a man built on mental toughness, it was a jab he didn't appreciate. The air turned cold immediately. Taylor's answers became short, clipped, almost hostile.
No. You've asked me a question.
Look,
I'm going to answer you now. I'm going to answer it because you're
Your
taking the mick out
composure
of
was
me.
good in the first game.
No.
What should have been routine turned into a passive-aggressive standoff viewers caught instantly. Days later, Taylor lashed out. He called Mardle and Painter provokers more interested in headlines than honest analysis. To Taylor, it felt like jealousy. Former players who couldn't reach his level tearing him down from the commentary box. Mardle maintained it was fair criticism. His job was to analyse, not worship. But to everyone watching, even in retirement, even after 16 world titles, Phil Taylor had zero patience for anyone questioning his legacy. And the next player didn't just question it, he came to replace it entirely. Michael van Gerwen didn't grow up idolising Phil Taylor. He grew up planning how to beat him. When MVG exploded onto the scene, he was fearless, aggressive, wildly consistent. Taylor was suddenly fighting just to keep pace. Match after match, Van Gerwen dominated without trash talking, just clinical efficiency. In 2012 at the Grand Slam, Van Gerwen won 10-5. Commentators called it the start of a new era. Then came 2023. At an exhibition match supposed to be fun, Van Gerwen destroyed Taylor so thoroughly, fans joked it was elder abuse. The scoreline was brutal. While Taylor laughed it off publicly, you could see something in his eyes. Discomfort. Reality. This wasn't a peer. This was the guy who came to finish what Taylor started. To Taylor, Van Gerwen represented something deeply uncomfortable. That time catches everyone, no matter how great, that every champion eventually watches someone better take their place. But before all the modern drama, there was one betrayal that hit deeper than any defeat. In 1993, darts was at a crossroads. Top players frustrated with the BDO decided to form their own organisation, the World Darts Council, later the PDC. It was a massive gamble. Mike Gregory was part of the inner circle, part of the plan, until he wasn't. At the last moment, Gregory backed out and rejoined the BDO, leaving Taylor and others blindsided. His decision put enormous pressure on the movement and threatened to sink it. To Taylor, it was betrayal. As years passed and the PDC became a powerhouse, Gregory faded into obscurity. His form collapsed after 1995. While Taylor revolutionized the sport, Gregory became a footnote. Taylor never shouted about it, but he dropped subtle jabs about how Gregory missed out on history, how he'd never be part of what they built. The silence said everything. For Phil Taylor, respect was earned, and once lost through betrayal, it was gone forever. But the deepest cut didn't come from a rival or coward. It came from the man who made Taylor possible. Eric Bristow wasn't just Taylor's mentor. He was the reason Taylor became professional. In the mid-1980s, Bristow lent him £10,000 to quit his factory job and focus on darts. He sponsored, trained, and believed in him. In 1990, Taylor beat him 6-1 in the World Championship final, the student surpassing the master. They remained close for years. Then came June 2013. At the Gibraltar Darts Trophy, Taylor needed double 12 to win a leg. He threw. The referee called it good, but replay showed the dart landed outside. Nobody noticed. Taylor won the match and tournament. When footage surfaced, the darts world erupted. The PDC concluded it was human error. Taylor offered to replay and forfeit his prize money. Then Bristow spoke. He told media that players know when darts miss, that you don't want cheats in the game. The word hit Taylor like a freight train. Cheat. From his mentor, Taylor was devastated. He called Bristow's comments hurtful beyond belief and stated he'd never talk to him again. The betrayal from a rival stings. The betrayal from a mentor destroys. That wound never fully healed. Phil Taylor didn't just dominate darts. He dominated people. He played with superhuman precision, crushing power, and a psychological edge few could withstand. But along the way, he made enemies. Some pushed his buttons with disrespect. Others crossed moral lines. A few simply stood in his way when pressure exploded. Love him or hate him, one thing remains undeniable. Phil Taylor's legacy wasn't built on peace. It was forged in rivalry, tension, and moments that changed darts forever. The real question isn't whether these feuds happened. It's whether they fueled his greatness or were simply the price he paid to stay on top for 25 years. Either way, the power left his mark. On the sport, on the record books, and on every single person who dared to challenge him.